It is difficult to appreciate the centrality and importance of gratitude in this spiritual quest. We must stretch out to the vantage point of the immortal soul that glimpses the gravity. Humanity is on an immense pilgrimage, one that goes back millions of years. There is a trailhead. There are signposts, campsites, and a destination. We have the sun, the moon, and the stars to help guide us along the way, but the journey is impossible without guides who have walked this way before. It is for them that we owe the most profound gratitude. Their experience of the journey, the maps they provide, warnings of danger, preparatory disciplines, and clear vision of the goal all make it possible for humanity to climb towards its evolutionary destination. Gratitude should come to human beings as naturally as devotion of the child to the mother. The fact that gratitude is in such short supply in the modern world is a sign of the soul sickness we currently labor under. Indigenous peoples understand the importance of gratitude. They appreciate even the smallest of sacrifices made on their behalf by Mother Earth. They have much to teach us about soul etiquette. There is a joy and a lightness for those whose hearts are filled with gratitude. Why is this? Where would we be without parents? What would life be like without friends? Our homes come from the trees and minerals of the earth. Our food comes from the sacrifice of plants and animals that live here with us. Our minds are enriched by our teachers who make it possible to read, speak, write, calculate, and sing. In fact, there's nothing about us that cannot be linked to a source greater than our personal self. Gratitude awakens joy. Gratitude is the recognition that each one of us participates in a vast chain of being, a chain of being so pervasive that it defies description and transcends words. In the light of these connections, to appreciate the contributions of others to one's own life is, in a sense, a prerequisite to walking the path. Gratitude, along with discrimination, are two walking sticks of the spiritual path. And with each progressive mile upon the path, gratitude increases, devotion deepens, and the pilgrim soul naturally discovers an ever-expanding sense of self. One begins to see oneself in others, and others in oneself. The spiritual sojourner is drawing a larger circle, blurring the lines between what we call self and what we erroneously call the other. Gratitude is central to this process. There's another word we use for gratitude, which has lost its luster and is widely misused, and that is love. Gratitude is an expression of love. One of the reasons the heart of gratitude is joyous is because the state of mind signifies a rapport, a union of sorts between self and other. The loathsome mask of separative consciousness has been revealed. How we think of ourselves is critical. Theosophy teaches us all that we are as a result of what we have thought. Our evolving conception of self is central to the alchemy of internal transformation. We are not our names. We are not our bodies. We are not our likes and dislikes. And we are not our selfish desires. We are much, much more than this. Persona means mask. We are immortal souls, and the soul refers to wholeness, completeness, fullness, and connectedness. When we love, we transcend divisions and move a little closer to the no ownership sense of self within. And this is why it is so important to raise our children with a sense of gratitude for all that is given to them. And we can only do this by setting a good example ourselves. It is with immense love that we are given the teachings concerning walking the path. Shankara reminds us that the great and peaceful ones, having crossed the ocean of embodied existence, freely aid all others who seek to cross it. We all know the sacrifices a parent makes in raising a child, the sleepless nights, the skinned knees, the emotional struggles abound. How much more profound are the sacrifices made on our behalf by our spiritual parents? Members of the guardian wall, soldiers in the army of the voice, to borrow the language of the voice of the silence. The analogy of parenthood only gives us a glimpse. The Mahatma letters are very clear on this point. Enormous sacrifices are in order for any real guru to take on a chela. And for this reason, the student must be ready. Preconditions have to be met. Our teachers are essentially those who wait. So they provide us with the steps that lead to this distant goal of universal self-consciousness. If you would know us, study our philosophy. If you would serve us, serve our humanity. This is the invitation. The philosophy of the wisdom tradition of Theosophy is synthetic, universal, impersonal, and both immanent and transcendent. It is both incredibly simple and enormously complex at the same time. But above all, it is transformative. We have the Bhagavad Gita. We have the Sermon on the Mount. We have the Tao Te Ching, the Dhammapada, the Golden Verses, the Golden Rule, the Kabbalah, just to name a few. And in our cycle, we have the Secret Doctrine, the Voice of the Silence, Light on the Path, Letters That Have Helped Me, all shedding much needed light upon life's journey. We have much to be grateful for, much, much more than we can possibly use in a single lifetime. So the burden lies with us and not our teachers. If we have oriented our thought and directed our mind to appreciate what we have been given, we cannot help but feel overwhelmed. It is natural to want to give back, to make a contribution, to stand up and be counted. This mental posture, if sustained, leaves little room for the petty desires of the personal consciousness. Gratitude erodes the coarseness of selfish desire. It dismantles separateness. When we do the math, we cannot fully reciprocate the kindness. There is too much to account. So we pay it forward as best we can, seeking out those who need encouragement, a smile, a hand along the way, knowing full well that our work in this regard are fledgling efforts to say thank you for what we ourselves have been given. And if our heart aches for the pain and suffering of our fellow man, there is no shortage of ways to serve. And service takes a multitude of forms. But for the student of Theosophy, service always includes high ideas, noble ideals, purified motivations. The life-changing ideas of Theosophy are difficult to share if they are not reflected in our conduct. They are best shared not so much by words, but by embodiment. Why do we respect the work of the Mother Teresa's, Mohandas Gandhi's, the Martin Luther Kings of this world? Because they made every effort to embody the very ideas they espouse. The people in our lives who have made the most profound influences are generally those people of integrity who live by what they say. It is important to note that noble heroes and great teachers never claim infallibility. The wisest amongst us readily admit error. Nevertheless, a cynical world hungers for noble examples of humility, selflessness, and magnanimity. The voice of the silence exquisitely states, "So shalt thou be in full accord with all that lives. Bear love to men as though they were thy brother pupils, disciples of one teacher, the sons of one sweet mother." We are on the path together. We can learn from each other. We can gain so much encouragement from each other. We owe a debt of gratitude to our fellow students as well as to our teachers. The good works of our sisters and brothers in the noble theosophical task of making this world a better place should inspire us to do better and to do more. So today we take the time to show our gratitude. Devotion is rooted in gratitude. And if we are wise, we will take the time every day and eventually every moment to be grateful. It should become a way of life, a mental posture of the soul, signs of a life well lived. We should lean into the idea of gratitude. Although it may seem simple, gratitude is the light that leads the teacher to the student to the teacher. Gratitude is a state of grace, a rapport and a communion with the self within. The teacher is not really outside of us. That is an illusion, we are taught. But in a mysterious way, permanently, unshakably resides within us. Krishna tells us in the Bhagavata Purana, the self within is the guru par excellence. So let us follow the advice recommended by Mr. Rogers, the teacher of preschool children, to take a silent minute to honor those, as he would say, who loved us into being.